Well, let's go back to that first meeting you had with Mrs. Heppel, when you went to have your stars read. Did she give you a satisfactory astrology reading?
I suppose so, yes.
Well, I mean, she appeared to know what she was talking about, did she?
Yes.
How long a session was it? About half an hour?
About 20 minutes.
So for about 20 minutes, she discussed in some detail your planetary influences, your birth sign, and gave you some idea of your future in various ways?
Yes.
And the fee for this, you said, was £5. Now, did that seem fair enough?
Yes, but...
yes, we're coming to that but. You thought that if you stayed around long enough and paid a little more money, some sort of sex might be available. You had very little to go on, just an impression. The cosy atmosphere, the bed in the corner of the room, the short skirt the young lady was wearing. Perhaps it was not so much an impression as wishful thinking.
No, it was more than that. Well, she said to me, well, she asked me if I wanted sex.
Oh, no, no, Sergeant McCovey. She did not ask you if you wanted sex. She said, and you yourself read it from your notebook, she said, you haven't come here for sex, have you? Now, isn't that right?
Same difference.
Not at all. I don't construe that as an invitation to have sex, and I'm sure the jury don't either. And I put it to you that there is nothing whatsoever in your entire testimony that directly implicates Mrs. Heppel in offering sex for money.
Is there something you wish to add, Sergeant?
Well, my lord, only that I know it come on when I see it.
I see. You wish to re-examine Mr. Lotterby? Thank you, Sergeant. You may leave the witness box.
I call Vernon Cox.
Vernon Cox, please.
What is your religion?
I'm a yogi, really.
Yoga is not a religion. Do you wish to take the oath?
Yeah, might as well.
Take the Bible in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Vernon Henry Cox. You live at number 46 Cranley Court, Hall Road, Fulchester.
Absolutely right.
How old are you, Mr. Cox?
27.
And what is your occupation?
I'm in insurance.
Yes. When you say that you're in insurance, Mr. Cox, what precisely does that mean?
I sell it, all kinds.
Thank you.
Life, endowment,
Yes.
house, fire, theft.
Yes.
Mr. Cox, do you know the accused, Paul Napier?
Him over there?
Yes. Have you ever seen him before?
No, never had the pleasure.
Have you ever visited number 36 Motcombe Road, Fulchester?
36. Oh, the basement flat, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Whom did you visit there?
Well, you know.
Mr. Cox, I'm asking you to tell the court whom you visited at that address.
Miss Virgo. Bless her.
In what circumstances did you visit her?
Well, it was a rainy Thursday afternoon and
I mean, how did you happen to go there?
I'm in Mini Cooper.
How did you get that address, Mr. Cox? What prompted you to go there?
Ah, well, you see, I got a tip from a mate of mine.
A friend recommended Miss Virgo to you?
Yes.
And what did he do? Give you her phone number?
Well, he couldn't remember the phone number, but he told me where the advert was.
So you went to the newsagents, got the phone number from the advert?
Yes.
Mr. Cox, presumably there were other advertisements in the newsagent's window?
Oh, yes, my lord. Quite a few.
How did you know which one to look for?
Well, Miss Virgo reveals all. That's what my mate said to look for.
Well, what did you think that meant?
Well, it was obvious, wasn't it?
Was it? You didn't think it meant that Miss Virgo would reveal what the stars foretell?
That never occurred to me, my lord.
Now, when exactly was this?
Well, like I said, a rainy Thursday afternoon, sometime in June.
Did you pay her any money?
Yes, I paid her £5 to have my stars read. And £10 for the other.
Well, perhaps you could describe in more detail what you mean by the other.
Well, no, I wouldn't describe it. That wouldn't be right. But after having my stars read, you know, a lot of mumbo-jumbo about Jupiter this and Saturn that, and don't take any financial risk till the end of the month. And a big tall blonde was about to come into my life.
Yes, yes.
Well, before you knew it, we were snogging on the sofa. The next thing was, bumps a daisy. We were hard at it on the bed.
Mr. Cox, you told my learned friend that you'd been to the basement flat on a rainy Thursday afternoon for an astrology reading, but do you recall the date?
The date? Not exactly.
Well, roughly. What month?
Well, Well, June, I already said.
Yes, the beginning of June or the end of June?
Near the end.
Yes. And now the defendant, Dr. Paul Napier, was charged on June the 25th, so that your visit to Mrs. Heppel might have been a few days before that, might it?
Might have been, yes.
Yes. You said that the visit cost £15.
That's right.
What was the payment for?
Well, the lot. All inclusive.
No, let's be specific about it. Weren't you told that there was a fee of £5 for an initial consultation?
Yes.
And that if you wanted your zodiac chart drawing up, which would take several days to complete, there would be a further charge of £10?
Yes, that's what she said.
Well, how do you mean that's what she said?
Well, I didn't have a zodiac chart drawn up, did I?
But you didn't go back to collect it, did you?
No.
Then how do you know it wasn't drawn up?
It was just a gimmick, wasn't it?
Not at all. If you pay for something and then you don't go and collect it, that's your lookout. Did you sign anything?
Oh, the little form, you mean?
Yes, you signed a form, did you?
Well, she asked me to, so I did.
And what name did you use?
Vernon Johnson.
I see, you signed Vernon Johnson instead of Vernon Cox.
Yes.
Would you show it to the witness, please? Is that your writing, even though it's not your signature?
Yes.
Perhaps this can be exhibited, my lord. It will be Exhibit 2.
No.
And Mr. Cox, it is dated the 23rd of June, 1974, and it says, the fee of £15 was paid by the undersigned for astroanalysis and compilation of a zodiac chart, does it not?
Yes.
Mr. Cox, when you signed this form, had you already paid the money?
Yes, I paid the money, then she gave me the form.
Was this before or after intercourse took place?
Well, I think it was... Yes, it was before. I paid in advance.
I'm obliged, my lord. You paid in advance for the chart that was to be drawn up. The money had nothing whatsoever to do with any sex that might have taken place.
Oh, it had in a way.
In what way?
Well, it was a sweetener.
Well, that might be your interpretation that the money was a sweetener, but the fact remains that you signed a form to say that the payment was for something else. I assume as soon as you paid the money, you didn't fling yourselves into each other's arms.
Oh, no. We had a smoke and I chatted her up.
You chatted her up?
Absolutely.
What sort of chat?
Well, I told her that she was more fantastic looking than she even realised herself. Well, you can't go wrong with that one. And what gorgeous hair she'd got, and she said...
Yes?
Well, she said what gorgeous hair I'd got too.
Did she?
Yes, and I told her to knock it off because she was getting me at it. And she said, what's the matter? Are you sex-starved or something? And I said, well, aren't we all? And there we were.
Where were you?
Well, we'd got things warmed up on the sofa, so we got down to business on the bed.
Yes. Well, I'm sure we're all very grateful to you, Mr. Cox, for that graphic description. Now, perhaps, Miss Tate, we could pass on to some other point.
Yes, my lord. There's just one more thing I want to ask you, Mr. Cox. How is it that you happen to be here, appearing as a witness for the prosecution?
Ah, now, that's a long story.
Oh, no. Well, try to condense it, will you?
Yes, my lord. Well, when I came out of the...
When you came out of the basement flat after seeing Mrs. Heppel.
Yes, that's right. Well, I was walking towards my car, you know, the Mini Cooper, and, well, I saw two plainclothes policemen sitting in an unmarked car, and one of them leaned out the window and called me over. So I goes over, and he asked me where I'd been. Well, he knew where I'd been, because he was keeping tabs on the building. So he asked me how it was, and I told him.
You told the police officers everything that had happened?
Well, more or less, yes, but not right there in the road. Later on in the pub.
You went for drinks with them?
Well, with one of them, the one I knew.
Oh, you knew one of the police officers?
Well, yeah.
Do you mean that he knew you?
Well, we knew each other. Well, we used to play in the same team a few years back. Amateur football for Thorley Hill Rovers,
Yes,
and...
yes.
So it was at the pub that he asked you to testify at this trial?
Oh, no. No, it was a couple of days later when they came round to my home address.
I see. Well, that was most fortuitous for the police, because it might have been very difficult for them to find an independent witness willing to testify with such intimate details.
I don't know about that.
Thank you. No further questions.
Wish to re-examine, Mr. Lottery?
Yes, my lord, just one question. Mr. Cox, if you hadn't paid the £15, do you think that Miss Virgo would still have been so accommodating?
Accommodate? Oh, intercourse, you mean?
Yes.
Hell no. No lolly, no lovey.
No lolly, no lovey. I couldn't have put that more succinctly myself. Thank you, Mr. Cox.
You may leave the witness box, Mr. Cox.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, my lord.
My lord, I am calling Dr. Napier and one other witness. It would be inconvenient for the witness to appear tomorrow, so with your lordship's permission, I propose to call her before my client.
Lotterby.
No objection, my lord.
Very well.
I call Mary Heppel, my lord.
Mary Heppel, please.
What is your religion?
I'm agnostic.
You wish to affirm?
Yes.
Please read aloud the words on this card.
I, Mary Heppel, do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Your name is Mary Heppel and you live at 36 Motcombe Road, Colchester.
Yes.
How old are you?
20.
Are you married?
Yes.
Are you living with your husband?
No, we're separated, waiting for the divorce to come through.
How long did your marriage last before you separated?
Just over 6 months.
And then what happened?
My husband left.
He left?
Disappeared. Went to London, I believe.
Leaving you in what condition?
Broke and pregnant.
You've since had the baby?
Yes, I have a year-old daughter.
Who lives with you and whom you support?
Yes.
What is your occupation?
I'm an astrology consultant.
Have you had a training in astrology?
Yes, apart from extensive reading, I studied under Hermione Redfield.
Hermione Redfield, who writes under the name of Hermione in a Sunday newspaper?
Yes.
How much studying did you do with her?
A course of 8 lessons.
When was this?
August and September of 73.
Miss Redfield is a recognized expert in this field.
Oh, yes. Apart from her newspaper articles, she's been an astrology consultant for 25 years.
I see. My lord, I have here a statement signed by Miss Redfield, which I wish to put in under the Criminal Justice Act 1967. I have spoken to my learned friend about it, and he doesn't object.
Very well.
It reads, "To whom it may concern, this is to say that Mary Heppel has completed her course in astrology and is, in the opinion of the undersigned, qualified to be an astrology consultant."
I see this statement is dated only yesterday.
Yes, my lord.
So it wasn't written at the time that Mrs. Heppel completed her studies?
No, my lord. I had hoped that Miss Redfield would be here in court today as a witness, but as she is unable to be so, well, I obtained the statement from her.
Well, why isn't she attending?
Well, it's most unfortunate, my lord, but she telephoned my instructing solicitors from London to say that she was unable to travel today or yesterday because of unfavourable aspects.
Unable to travel because of what?
Well, I'm afraid I'm not too clear myself exactly what,
Would it be all right for me to explain?
Yes, Mrs. Heppel. Please explain if you can.
Well, Miss Redfield is a Sagittarian, you see, and Mars, Jupiter and Uranus were all... the planets, Mars,
Yes, yes.
were all in bad aspect to each other. Since Mars is the planet affecting travel and Jupiter the ruler of her sign and Uranus is the bringer of disruption, well, Miss Redfield would feel it dangerous to travel either yesterday or today.
Well, I've heard of some unusual reasons for people failing to attend my court, but never because of Mars, Jupiter and Uranus. Thank you, Mr. Lotterby, but it is not for us to scoff, and I take this opportunity of saying to the jury and to everyone present here in court that I don't want anything I may have said to be regarded as being disparaging of astrology. I know a great many people take it very seriously and believe in its influence upon their lives. Now, let the jury see this statement from Miss Redfield. Yes, Miss Tate?
My lord. How long have you been working professionally as an astrology consultant?
Just over a year.
And have you any idea how much you've earned in that time?
£5,455.
£5,455. That's over £100 a week. Have you filed an income tax return?
Yes, for the first 6 months up to last April.
May we have the form, please? One dependent, use of the flat as an office, and some other professional expenses. Oh, and the amount of tax paid by cheque.
Yes, Mrs. Heppel, did you complete this form yourself, or did you have assistance?
It was done for me by an accountant.
Yes, I see that you haven't made a deduction of the fee charged by your accountant, which you're fully entitled to do.
He didn't charge me anything, my lord.
Oh, yes, I see.
And now your largest deduction was for rent, claiming half the total. I suppose that was on the basis of your using just one room of the flat as an office.
Yes.
Now, Mrs. Heppel, you are aware that the very substantial rent of £50 a week that you pay to your landlord, Dr. Napier, is possibly largely responsible for the present charges being brought against him.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
You're also aware that the very heart of the case against the defendant is the contention that your source of income is not what you claim it to be, and that it comes wholly or in part from prostitution, and therefore they are immoral earnings.
Yes.
Are you a prostitute?
No.
Do you sell yourself sexually for money?
No.
Has anyone ever given you cash or other reimbursement for having sex with them?
No.
Have you ever had sex with any of your clients?
Yes.
Frequently?
Occasionally.
Well, how often? With how many of your clients have you had sex?
About 20.
20 out of a total of how many?
Over 300.
So, out of more than 300 clients, you've had sex with about 20?
Yes.
Why? Why did you have sex with them?
Well, it just happened. I mean, I'd only do it if it was a spontaneous happening, if we both wanted it.
These men being complete strangers to you,
Yes.
you have no compunction about having sex with a complete stranger.
Well, I'd rather that than get involved with someone and have a relationship which ends in disaster.
Would you say that you particularly enjoy having sex with a stranger?
Right, stranger, yes. Well, sometimes I can't resist it. Oh, I thought I might have a problem. I did think of seeing someone about it, but I kept putting it off because, well, I enjoy it.
Mrs. Heppel, do you have any other